We have seen India's stock market slump in early trade. We've seen the Sensex slump over 3,000 points, now over 2,500 points. The Nifty slide over 1,000 points, now over 800 points. The BSE's mid-cap and small-cap indices also bleeding in trade, and the volatility index spike over 55% in early trade. Now, all of this, remember for our viewers to understand, is after concerns over a global trade war emerging and growing recession fears in the US after US President Donald Trump's tariff stance has triggered a global market meltdown, and tariff tremors are being felt across the board. Let's hear what, of course, US President Donald Trump said about the markets and then decode the market mood with an expert.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it.
G. Chokkalingam, founder of Economics Research, as well as a senior market analyst. Mr. Chokkalingam, we've seen India's stock market slump in early trade. Levels, of course, not seen in a very, very long time. We've seen the rupee weaken sharply. We've seen Asia stock markets extend this steep decline, with Japanese stocks plunging over 8%, and Australian share market also shedding really $160 billion in early open. And the Australian dollar diving to COVID levels. US futures also slumping nearly 6%, and US crude oil falling below $60 a barrel to the lowest level since 2021. As far as India is concerned now, for our viewers to understand, fair to say that India's stock market is resilient but not insulated from what's happening in the rest of the world.
Definitely. My strong point is that don't panic. The domestic investors don't panic. It is misunderstood. Yes, I am not saying that India will not be affected. It will be relatively least affected. We are not like China, where the tariff hike is maximum to the extent of 54%. We are not like US economy, where almost entire import, the basket, the cost hike will happen, inflation will go up, and that will pull down the growth. And India is a domestic demand-driven economy. Export is only 10% of the total exports. The remaining 90%, sorry, only 10% of the GDP, the exports. The remaining 90% of the GDP is from domestic demand as well as IT services exports. And that is not affected by the tariff war. And third, the global pain always proven to be India's gain. Now oil is down close to 30%. You will see multiple impact, positive impact. The import bill will come down, rupee will strengthen, inflation rate will come down, interest rate cycle definitely you will start aggressive rate cut. And fourth, US market is at the receiving end. The market is already down 18 to 22% as of Friday. The small businesses are in red now in US. So therefore, even the pharma, what Mr. Trump has proposed, that may escape from the aggressive tariff hike after seeing this pain. And lastly, overall impact could be 30-50 basis point on India's GDP. That is not very big enough to warrant 3 to 5% fall in the market. And bank on domestic demand driven stocks, I am sure we will be the least affected. We will be the first one to recover a lot. I am pretty confident. And India will come out of this very fast, like how we came out during .com, Lehman crisis and COVID pandemic.
All right, you're optimistic, but for those saying that, look, this analyst saying that this is anyway a Black Monday as far as India's stock markets are concerned, what would you say?
Yeah, I'm too optimistic. I may be absolutely wrong. Only less than 1 hour gone on this Monday, so another 5-6 hours are there. I think, I mean, it's very difficult to predict intraday, but I think market participant will understand the India's relative strength. Today itself, it can recover. It may not be a Black Monday. Even if it is a Black Monday by any chance, we will bounce back. You know, we are already down 100 lakh crore, which is 1/3 of the GDP, which is not warranted. And it has made a lot of stocks attractive. And every week, even last week, more than 5 lakh investors have come in, new investors. They are pouring into the market. So new investors also will support. We will definitely recover, if not today itself, to a large extent, days to follow.
Right, your message to investors feeling jittery with these steep declines that they're witnessing, your message to investors on the sectors to watch out for.
Don't panic, don't sell off. particularly the domestic demand driven. There are a lot of stories like a banking stock, nothing to do with the US economy or dollar. Then you have a telecom industry, and then you have a real estate based industries. So you have then domestic pharma companies, 80-90% of the businesses from the domestic pharmaceutical industry. So these are some of the themes, you bank on them, definitely they will reward you in the next 1 year without fail.
Right, you're optimistic. Let's of course hear Peter McGuire, also CEO of Trading.com, on what he had to say about US crude oil prices falling below $60 a barrel and hitting their lowest level since 2021. Let's hear what Peter had to say about oil prices and, of course, the significance there.
Crude energy prices, which is wonderful for certainly countries like China and India, is under now $60 a barrel. And I think that you'll see further falls across that sector, and significant ones. And as far as the tariffs are concerned, I've got to listen to the likes of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and, of course, Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, to get their views and objective, I think, opinion across the markets.
Right, so Peter McGuire there, of course, on the slump, of course, in oil prices. Remember, we just heard experts tell NDTV that oil prices slumping will, of course, be a positive as far as India is concerned. But remember, the Nifty and the Sensex tanking in early trade. All eyes really on what the intraday trade looks like for India stock markets and how US markets open later this evening. That's as far as the market mood is concerned at the moment. We will, of course, continue to track markets going forward.